So I feel like 2020 will go down as the only year where I saw one movie in the theaters. In any case, I wanted to talk about this movie because I did really like it, but also I wanted to talk about something fresh, something new, something that I don't do a lot on this channel. I don't review a lot of singular films on my channel. Usually it's just playlists and superhero franchises and shit like that. So I wanted to take the time to actually focus on something a bit more real. The King of Staten Island is a very... Okay, here's the thing. It's a movie that we've all seen before, okay? But when it comes to movies like this, these feel-good movies, it all comes down to how they do it. The Edge of 17 could have been a really boring and bland movie. Love, Simon could have been the same. What was that? A really great one last year was Fighting with My Family. That also could have been a really bland and boring movie, but it's how they do these films that matters. It's how the actors deliver their lines. It's how they bring the character to life, especially in the case of this movie with Pete Davidson, who in real life actually did lose his father, who was a firefighter, I think in 9/11? I think. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. And I'm going to say something that, I'll be honest, this is something that usually you'd hear from Chris Stuckman, but I'm going to say it myself. When an actor has had something actually happen to them in real life that they are then trying to portray in a film, the temptation is there to go over the top, maybe with their performance, and, you know, really show audiences what it was like for them in real life. This is not the case. In this movie, his character is actually very bland and a bit of a dick sometimes, so the way Pete portrays his character is very real. I thought it was very wise to not have that really over-the-top scene where, you know, the actor's scene. And yes, the movie does rest on his shoulders, and I think he does do a good job of carrying that load, but it's not just him. You also have Marissa Tomei. I love Marissa Tomei. Bill Burr, I won't lie, was a contributing factor into me actually going to see this movie. I'll say this about Bill Burr's performance for this movie. He's not Leonardo DiCaprio. He doesn't disappear into the role. You know, it's not one of those performances where you see nothing but the character, okay? He is very much like he is in real life with his stand-up and his Monday morning podcast, right? I love this guy. If I haven't said it, I don't think I have said it. I love Bill Burr. Another thing I want to say is that whenever I go into a movie, most of the time when I watch a movie, just a movie, nothing to do with a huge franchise or whatever, when I'm going into a singular movie, I go in looking at the shots first, right? Looking at the technical side of it. And if a movie can, you know, draw me into the story like this one did, and I forget about, you know, the technical side of things like the audio and the shots and all that stuff and, you know, all that stuff, right? If the movie can draw me away from that, then it's a good movie. The thing is, though, this movie didn't actually make me cry. A movie doesn't have to make me cry, but I know when a movie does have me that invested to the point where it hits that scene, you know, it makes me cry. This movie didn't have that, and if it was trying to do that, it didn't succeed in doing it. So it's good, but I don't think it's great. Now let's get on to my issues. These are nitpicks, not, you know, fundamental issues with the movie. The nitpick that I had with this movie is the one subplot with the main character that Pete Davidson plays, where he tries to do something involving his mother, and her boyfriend. It kind of fits his character, I guess, but I just didn't think in a movie that is so real and so grounded, I didn't think trying to do this thing was really that grounded or realistic, where most people in this situation wouldn't do that. Now, I understand that he's a bit of a screw loose and he's not a normal person. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's just a bit weird when everything else is so grounded and realistic. It is a comedy, though, so that is a nitpick. Here is an actual problem that I had with the movie. It's the ending. And now this will confuse a lot of people. It's not the actual last scene of the film. It's the fact that they just cut it there. The last scene I really liked. Very sweet scene. It shows that he's changed. But I think it was maybe too abrupt. maybe not end there. I mean, you don't have to show us too much. You don't have to show us what he does after the movie. Like, you don't have to show us what happens to him, like, in the future, like, all happy and living a bright, happy life with the white picket fence. You don't have to show that. I'm just saying, like, maybe an extra scene, something else to have some more finality to it, to have some more closure. It's a feel-good movie, so if you're going to make a feel-good movie, you might as well have something that isn't so ambiguous and isn't so abrupt that you're like, well, what was the whole movie about? If it's an abstract film, abrupt endings, ambiguous endings, they can work. But this, I felt, should not have been the case for this. Don't be so abrupt. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, good movie. I do highly recommend it because there's not a lot of movies coming out in the theaters right now. And sometimes I like to do this. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you're still watching this video, I might as well just let you know that I don't review movies like this that often. If this is the first video that you're seeing me in, I don't do a lot of videos like this. I mainly review franchise films and superhero films and things, shit like that, TV shows, and more recently comic books. So I wanted to let you know that I don't just review this shit. I do keep an eye out. I do pay attention to some of the smaller films out there, the films that some would argue mean more. So yeah, I would say this movie is good. Even though I had my nitpicks, it was good, and it's definitely going to be somewhere in my top 10 list because I'll tell you now, it's not looking good. I mean, the movies on there I love, but I didn't have that much choice this year. There wasn't a lot of options this year to put on my... Anyway, why am I talking about the list now? Anyway, go and watch this movie if you haven't yet. It's a pretty good movie, I will say. And Bill Burr and Pete Davidson and Marissa Tomei do excellent jobs. And if you don't want to look at all my playlists for the reviews that I've done for huge franchise films and all that shit, I know I keep talking about it. It's a thing. If you don't want to look at it, you don't have to. But if you are interested in watching some more of my content, you're a fucking weirdo, but have at it. I say weirdo because it's me. Anyway, bye.